All right, guys, we are back. It is the rundown with ALT Insider and Cheeser. How you doing, my friend? Long layoff. You had a lot of stuff happening. How you feeling?
I'm feeling amazing. It has been a while. It's been close to a month. But I am back. I'm ready. And even though I'm saying I'm back, I'm going to GDQ in like a few weeks. So these past few months have been crazy for me. But it's also been crazy for GSA in a great way. And we're gonna tell you why very soon. But I'm great to be back and I'm ready to do this.
Lots of stuff to talk about here. Let's start with the first thing. It's splashy. It's smashy. It is smash and splash just happened. Tell us about it,
Yes.
Cheese.
Smash and Splash 5 just happened at the Kalahari Resort in Wisconsin. And it's funny because most people that hear this, they're like, wait a minute, Wisconsin, why are we having such a big event in Wisconsin? Wisconsin has nothing, right? But
Yeah.
there's a place in Wisconsin called Wisconsin Dells. For those who are not familiar with Wisconsin Dells, you drive through all of Wisconsin, and well, my personal experience, I land in Madison Airport, I drive for an hour in nothing but just fields and ranch. And I'm like, where are we? And then all of a sudden you reach, welcome to Wisconsin Dells. And it's like this beautiful, awesome, it looks like a theme park. It's like this small town of just cool stuff everywhere. Convention center, which is where Smash and Splash happened, all these eating places, all these other theme parks, water parks everywhere. It's awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
this huge center called Kalahari Resort, and that's where Smash and Splash was. And in the resort, of course, they have an indoor and outdoor water park, and that's where the splash comes in. So it's a huge Smash event, and you can go to the water park as well. It's really cool theme. And of course, GSA just had the top four finals of the 16 Star League and the Mario Kart Double Dash League done there live at Smash and Splash 5. First time ever that speedrunning has been part of a Smash event live.
Mm-hmm. This is big. Yeah.
Great heights for speedrunning, yes, and it was amazing. First of all, great experience. It's pretty crazy because you go to a GDQ or any speedrunning event, and the ambiance in speedrunning events are quite casual. It's a very laid back, very casual feel to the event. Everyone is chilling out, playing their favorite games and doing races or whatever. The stream room is always very chill. People like that a lot. You go to a Smash event, or I'm guessing other fighting game events or esports events, and there's a constant ambiance and of how I guess I should say this constant feeling of energy, hype and energy is like 24/7. Everyone is just like crazy, going crazy about waiting for their next hype match to watch. Everything is about waiting for the next awesome match to happen, and you always hearing people shouting in the main room in the back because some favorite player of theirs won a match or something. It's just constant energy, so it's like a lot different to a speedrunning event.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a different experience for me, but really cool. Of course, a way bigger event that I'm used to as well. A lot more people were there, and having speedrunning there was just it was a very different feel, and the spectators loved it too. And a lot of them who didn't even know that we were there were ecstatic. They were like, "This is so cool! I had no idea you guys were coming. I think it's such a good idea to have speedrunning part of Smash event." And for me, I would say 10 out of 10. It went great. Of course, there were a few technical difficulties, and that happens.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was awesome.
I want
Yeah,
to. I want to know, like, how was it set up different? Because on the stream you could see like it was kind of it looked like a marathon for the stream speedrunning aspect of things. But was it like a separate
yeah,
room, or was he in the back of the room, or how was it set up, like layout wise?
yeah. So the convention center had two huge main ballrooms. The first ballroom, of course, was where all the Smash was going on. That's where all the grand finals were done, Melee, Ultimate, everything there. The second huge ballroom was our place. We were at the center stage of the second ballroom, right? And that ballroom also was home for all of the side stuff that was going on, like the Mortal Kombat tourney, Smash 64. They had like Dance Dance Revolution stuff going on overnight. They had stuff like Super Mario Strikers tourney. That's where like the fun room was, and that's where they also were selling food. So that room was also constantly busy, right? So we had like the center stage of that room. So that's basically where our setup was. And yeah, so of course we had pretty much the same format as Pace, except for it wasn't a 24-hour stream,
Hmm.
which makes things a lot easier
Yeah, yeah.
too. Yeah, so we had our league matches during the day, and we had a few showcases in the evening and early nighttime.
Hmm. Cool, cool. So I guess the next question is two questions left. Is this going to happen
Mhm.
again? You think in your guessing? Would that happen again in your estimation? And
Oh,
did
yeah.
they you think anything like could you take away things that they did their event for future GSA event, like things that did that maybe speedrunning marathons don't normally do at live events that maybe you think you could do at Pace or at other
Mhm.
events?
Um, so the good news, well, I don't really think there's bad news, honestly. Yeah, it's pretty much good news. Aaron, one of the main guys from GHQ Gaming Headquarters, uh, who runs Smash and Splash, he taught us right after and was like, "You guys were awesome, and we would love to have you guys again." Like we want. They even asked for more, but of course I can't get into detail. But it's only good news. So I could definitely see us being there again next year. And if we could find a way to create that energetic feel to the environment of the event, that ambiance I was talking about, that was very high energy. I was looking forward to something that was coming up. If we could somehow find that a way to create that, not all the time, but definitely implement that into the speedrunning events, I think that would make it so much more exciting. But
Mm.
most importantly, it would create the incentive for people to want to actually watch main events and stuff at the event. Because, a lot of people have been saying nowadays that, oh, I go to GDQ because I want to have a good time. I want to spend time with my friends. And I might watch like one or two runs in the whole week, but that's very, very little,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
for the case of the Smash event, people are in the ballroom all day watching matches. That's what they come for.
Hmm.
So if we could create an incentive to attract people to want to watch more main events or be part of them, that would be, I think, very key. And I heard a lot of people saying that that's kind of what Pace started doing because of the competitive speedrunning aspect,
Yeah.
of course, because people were there to watch the grand finals and stuff as well every day. So, um, you know, I think it's going in the right direction, especially what GSA is doing. It's going in the right direction in that sense, and hopefully other speedrunning events might try to implement this somehow.
But that's a big difference,
But
right?
that's my
Because
opinion. Yeah,
Smash is just a short burst of action, right? It's like this and this, two people going against each other, boom. Of course, you never know what's going to happen, and same thing with Pace, right? You don't know what's going to happen, who's going to win this race. But in normal marathons,
and I
it's
think
you do know what's going to happen, right? It's like here's the
yeah,
next
yeah,
4 hour run of Super Mario Sunshine or whatever, and that's cool. But you know what's going to happen, so hey, I'm not really interested in that, so go do something else. You know what I mean?
yeah. So it's like people who are experienced speedrunners who have been on DQs for years. It's that exact thing. Oh, they're having another OG 100% run again. Um, I'm gonna step in to just see ZFG or say hi to ZFG for like 2 minutes, but I'm not gonna watch the run because I watched it last year.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know exactly what's gonna happen. So it's of course trying to find that something to make those people be like, oh damn, I have to stay and see what happens.
yeah,
Of course, it's very challenging for a marathon event in speedrunning. How are you gonna do that? But these are the questions that need answering, of course,
yeah.
and it takes a lot of time and work.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what the competitive, hopefully competitive side adds,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
And in saying that, of course, GDQ, for example, uh, the event is centralized around the stream. It's all about the online experience. Okay, it's unfair to say that more than the event experience because I don't know. But definitely the online experience is very, very concentrated. A lot of energy is placed on the online experience for
Mhm.
this for the viewers of the stream. So it's like, well, we need to find a way to implement uh, things for the event experience to be also enhanced.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I guess it's unique to Splash. I always want to say Splash and Splash. Smash and Splash is that they have that. It's
yeah,
it at a cool place, right? Well, GDQ. Remember
yeah,
they just announced they're going to have one in Florida and stuff. So that's maybe they're going towards that thing to make the location
yeah,
more of a destination location, and then it's kind of have fun. But it makes sense though also to focus on the online side of things because many, many, many times more people are going to see online only. You know what I mean? But we got to
yeah.
find a mix there. One thing I was before we change topics here, don't want to go too long on this, but if you want to watch something about Splash and Splash that I think is really unique and cool, check out Trihex. He was there. He did a showcase run, and he did some commentating for the Smash part
Smash
of things.
Ultimate, yeah.
Cool. He put an awesome video on YouTube, and I'll hopefully we can link it in the below or whatever. That he talks about his experience commentating. It was really cool. Trihex as always just says the truth of what he felt, and he said right when he started he felt outclassed. He's like, oh, I shouldn't be here. I'm not good enough for this, and it was really really cool watch. So be sure to check that out. It's really worth talking about, and it's very comparable to commentating speedruns on marathons as well, because it just shows you have to know every single thing, and if you don't, and someone you're with does, it's like, why am I talking? I shouldn't be talking here, but that's for a different day.
I heard a lot about that too, so I'm interested to check that out as well.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's such a okay. Let's not go too deep in the rabbit hole. We can have a commentating episode if we want one day, but yeah,
just watch the video.
yeah. So in other news, you did something that's mildly cool, right? Can you tell us about that?
Right, I forgot about that old thing.
Yeah.
Well, I would say first of all, Mario 64 particularly has been popping off. Not to be biased on my own game,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is pretty crazy. Well, first of all, for the fact that it has been more than a year since a 120-star world record has been broken. More than a year and a half, about a year and a half since either me or Punkay has even PB'd in 120-star.
Yep.
And in 70-star as well. And of course, Punkay, basically the start of this year is just, that's when the fire started, with Tago first breaking the world record, and then Punkay now finally gets the 70-star world record back after years. And of course, yeah, a few days ago I get the 120-star world record randomly the day after coming back from Smash and Splash. Funny enough, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. It was funny because I came home, I'd slept like 10 hours, woke up at nighttime, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna stream then. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I did 120-star runs, and then I get a world record. It's just pretty crazy because a lot of times I think, I want to get 120-star world record, so I have to practice a ton. I have to prepare myself. Oh, this is going to take so long. But then again, I just start a stream one day, do 120-star, and I get world record. So like maybe, it makes me think twice. Oh, I guess it doesn't take so much preparation. Maybe I can just start doing runs in PB. Like, you never know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah. I was going to ask that. So do you think your world records have more of a result of like hardcore grinding? Like, all right, here's my goal. I'm going to keep doing this for until as long as it takes. Or is it just kind of, let me play this and then it happens? What do you think happens more often for you?
I think I've officially reached the point where, because I have no idea how long something would take to achieve at least for Mario 64, because I've reached the point where I've made it in that sense where there's no build up anymore. I've reached there, and now I don't have no idea how long it's going to take for me to break another PB.
Yeah.
So let's just, if we feel like doing this today, let's do it. If I get a world record, I can. If I don't, then I don't.
Yeah.
I think it might be better that way, because otherwise I stress myself out a lot more, thinking all the time about, oh, it's going to take like 2 months or something. Shall I practice now? Should I do this? Should I, so
you're
I'm
at that
going to
level.
try this approach and see how it goes.
You're at that level now, like you said. It's not like you are like every day you get incremental increases in your skill level or anything. It's like, you're at this level that's like, it's tough to make a PB for sure. So I guess, but the last, to put a bow on this topic, I want to know, when you lose your 70-star world record, which happened since our last show, I think, around there, maybe. And then, do you feel like, oh, I want to get that?
Well, I lost it from Tago earlier this year.
Yeah, that's true. Tago, and then
Punkay beat me, basically.
Then Punkay is like, F you, I'm going faster than that. Now, do you care about 70 stars? I know you like 120-star more than 70-star, but is it like, you want to get back on top? Because it's right there for you.
Yeah.
If you get 70-star, you're on top again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do care about it. I care about it more now since Punkay has it, because me and Punkay's rivalry has always been the rivalry. Because when Tago had the world record, it was like, Tago deserves this world record, and I want him to have the world record because he's worked so hard for it. And it's like, I really wish that he had it, and when I was happy when he did. But because Punkay and me are Punkay and me,
yeah,
for years and years of battling each other, it's like, Punkay beat the world record. I might want to come back. But the truth is that I have so many things going on right now. I've never been so busy than I have been now.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of at the point where if I feel like doing 70 star today, like I said before, if I feel like doing 70 star today, I'll do 70 star.
Mhm.
I'm not going to think too hard about it because I'm just going to stress myself out. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Makes sense.
Um,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with that said, of course, we're having Punky on the show in
Yeah.
a little
So
while.
there.
So
Well,
we're
we
going to be
talked to him
getting,
there.
yeah, we're going to be getting more on this stuff. Yeah.
But let's go. Okay, let's
And
go
of
into
course-
good. Let's go into our last topic before we get to our interview with the legendary Punk A, hottest man in Mario. I was gonna say he. Yeah, I had an intro already. The hottest man in Mario 64 speedrunning in the moment, but he's not. You kind of took that away because you got a record. So now you're the hottest
Yeah.
man in Mario 64. Both.
Mario 64 is just really hot right now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm just happy for that.
It's extremely hot right now, as it always is.
Yeah.
Really, it's always one of the biggest games. But we have a little discussion here that about the great thing known as the subreddit known as speedrun, r/speedrun, the great subreddit, great in parentheses, great. So there's the topic here. NASA's going on 2019. The North American Speedrun Assembly, I believe, is what it stands for. NASA.
It's Canadian based, yeah.
Yeah. And set up by Dark Aries, Naglaria. I'm not gonna forget people, but it's a few guys there. I'm not gonna forget people. Sorry about the people I forgot. But someone had a comment. How come there's barely any discussion about NASA 2019? And we both decided this is a good thing to talk about because we have a lot of thoughts about. It's not about NASA particularly because NASA's a cool marathon. I always enjoy watching it as a second monitor, like I always do with marathons these days. But it kind of talks about. Let's talk about more smaller marathons in general. You know what I mean? So I thought you could start us off. What's kind of your thoughts on this? How come there's barely any discussion about smaller marathons?
Yeah, so like at first glance, it's like I think it's a good thing. Like what you're doing, for example, I think it's a cool idea. It's kind of like that thing you have on your second monitor on all day. Now, I would say off the bat that that post on Reddit kind of had me thinking like, yeah, it's true. People don't create Reddit posts about NASA, but when GDQ is on, it's like, oh my God, GDQ posts everywhere.
Every single time. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of common sense that comes with that, right? Which being GDQ has been around for 10 years. It's GDQ. GDQ is huge. NASA is a lot smaller. Production quality of GDQ is very up there. NASA is a lot lower. So naturally, well, to add to that, it's the same event. Sorry, it's the same idea of event. It's a marathon event, which is what most speedrunning events are. So it's like, with that said, it's natural that people would just gravitate towards concentrating on GDQ when it starts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I guess a good example, an obvious example would be kind of like there's a Smash event going on in somebody's basement for $100 prize pool. And then there's another Smash event like Smash and Splash with 3,000 people in a huge ballroom with $10,000 prize pool. Why would most people make a post about the small event? Like, are they surprised that they won't? It makes sense to concentrate on the big hype event where all the big players are. So I guess that's just like the common sense part of it. Of course, I've mentioned before quite a bit in my own stream too. All these speedrunning events are the same. It's all centered around the same idea. It's all marathons for a week, for charity, and people are very, very, very much used to it in 2019. If NASA came around at the same time as GDQ in 2010, and they tried to have the same production quality and amount of people attending and stuff, of course it would have been different now. But a smaller marathon style event in 2019 for speedrunning, it's just going to get overshadowed.
Mm-hmm.
But in saying that, this doesn't mean that the people at NASA or running NASA care about being a big marathon event.
Yeah.
It could be that they're just focusing on running the event for the people in Canada to have an event to go to and showcase their runs. And I'm guessing that's the whole point of why they're doing it in the first place. They're not looking to get thousands and thousands of views. They're not looking for the spotlight.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they don't mind if they don't get talks about on posts and stuff like that.
Yeah, you
So
don't know the goals, right?
yeah,
You don't know the goals,
yeah,
and it's one thing to say is all the I was kind of like the group of anything less anything that's not GDQ is extremely smaller than GDQ. That's just how it is. I mean, that's just the way of the world, right? The
ESA is definitely. I mean, I would say apart from ESA GDQ, because ESA really controls the European side of things too.
But even okay, so that said, if we're saying ESA is not a smaller marathon, it still gets a
It's
fourth,
still
a
it
fourth
still
of the
really is a
viewership.
lot smaller than GDQ,
Yeah,
and that's fun. That's fun. That's funny, right? So like the thing that controls all of Europe in speedrunning events is still significant, about a quarter the size or so of GDQ, and that's crazy.
so yeah, so
So even more so.
we have to put this in a picture of like in terms of how big GDQ is in the whole scheme of things. So GDQ is just trumps everything, and there's a lot of reasons we can get into that. It was the first. A lot of people, it has now it has grown, and the production values have grown and grown. It is kind of the
Yeah.
most visually appealing one. ESA is right there too, though. I think ESA is on par in terms now. But it's just
Yeah.
people, like how can I say this? When you find
Ethics.
something, I'm trying to think here deeply. It's hurting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Things, the first thing that you hear or see to get you into something new really stays with your heart. You know what I mean? So I think I said this before on the
Yeah.
show, but I think of it again. So whatever band you like, I don't know what it is, the first song that got you into them is always special to you, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like usually you think that's your favorite song. For me, it's definitely true. So for many people, thousands of people, I've interviewed 60 people on my podcast, and more than half, how I got into speedrunning was GDQ. That's
Yeah.
always the link, right? So that's always going to be something special in their heart, right? That's like, okay, when this comes around, man, there's good feelings of when you got into speedrunning, when you first discovered this awesome thing. It's always going to be there, and right, and so
Yeah.
it's and and it's always on the same time of the year and stuff, and that kind of matters too in terms of holidays, right? Whenever something happens, Christmas, right? Christmas
Yeah.
is like not just fun because it's Christmas. It makes you think about those times 10 Christmases ago, and it's that
Yes.
nostalgic feeling, right? And that is
That's
happening.
exactly it. That's
Yeah.
such a good way to put it. A really good comparison, I guess, is Christmas, because that is exactly what I feel personally too. And when I think about Christmas, I think about 4 Christmases ago when I was with my family in my pajamas, waking up, opening presents with my family, and like, oh my God, I got a GameCube or something.
Yeah,
Well, I was like 10
yeah.
years ago, 12 years ago, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I would never forget that. My favorite day of all time is still that day that I opened my first ever GameCube and CRT that I got 14 years ago. I was so ecstatic, and I would always think of Christmas 14 years later of that moment and immediately feel connected. And it's the connection that really stands out. So
Yeah, and that's what GDQ has over all these other things, right? And
yeah,
and all those other ones. NASA's is a great marathon, has good stuff, good production values and everything, but just doesn't have that link. So, of course, it's going to be smaller. And I don't think NASA cares about that.
And
either,
yeah, exactly. And to add to that, of course, being the exact same idea of event is going to be even more in that area of being compared to GDQ always. Because if it was a completely different style event, then it won't be compared to GDQ as much. It'll be like, oh, this is a whole new thing.
Yeah,
And then maybe it might have a lot more chance to grow.
yeah. Like
But
just think
yeah,
about what's the fucking sorry, whatever. Let's talk about the second most ESA. I think it's big. Really, a big reason it's big is because it started way back then too. But just after GDQ, ESA started. RPG Limit Break. That's a big-ish marathon too.
Yeah.
That's because it does something totally different, And I think if you want to be as big as GDQ, if that's your goal, future marathon creator or future event creator, you got to do something different, right? You have to. You can't be. We're gonna be GDQ in our own way because there is no own way. GDQ has that market done. Right, it's over.
Yeah.
So
I guess something to add to this kind of topic was something that you and I were kind of touching on earlier. A lot of people have been saying nowadays that GDQ is declining somewhat. People are saying, "Oh, if you look at the viewers, they've actually declined compared to like 2 years ago. When they have big races, it's not as much as it was 2 years ago." People are saying the GDQ is on the decline in viewership and stuff. What is your opinion on that?
Well, in terms of Okay, threw me a hot one here. This wasn't on the script. No, so I think no. In terms of, here's one thing to think about, and Twitch itself, right? In terms of total viewership of all games, I'm saying
Yeah.
not all games, it has been growing, right? It is growing, so it's like
Yeah.
hyperinflation. However, at the very least, you could say GDQ has its viewership, and that is not growing in terms of the whole market of viewers watching Twitch, right? So
Right.
if I was a GDQ organizer, which I'm definitely not, that would have me thinking a little bit, right? Like, why aren't we growing in terms of on the
Okay.
same scale as the Twitch growth, right? Well,
I
you could,
guess how about just to cut in because
yeah.
what do you think about this then? Um, would you say that this might be plausible that the ratio of GDQ viewers are getting bored of GDQ and that's where they're leaving? That ratio is declining faster than uh,
Ooh.
the ratio of newer people finding out about GDQ
Okay, two things. Okay, a real quick answer
rising.
here. Okay, I got your point.
I didn't say that correctly, but you know what I'm
I got your point. Two things here. GDQ also is extremely saturated, right? So everyone that kind of could find GDQ is like predisposed to enjoy GDQ has probably already heard about it, right? And it's just that's the fact.
saying?
So there's not as many new people out there to say there's not new people you can just find and say, hey, what do you think about this? Because they probably already heard about it. So yeah, as the years go on, there's going to be some people that, well, I'm not into it anymore, and they're going to drop off, but there's no new people to pick up the slack, right? So that's kind of expected almost. Like, what can
Yeah.
you do? That it's such a big thing that so many people have heard about it now. You know what I mean? So, well, what do you think about that?
Can you repeat everything you said?
What do you think? What do you think about your own question? Right? Do you think is GDQ declining in your eyes in terms of that? In terms of purely viewers watching. Let's not talk about what you think about how
Yeah, so
it's
like
run.
I think what might be happening is that people who already know about GDQ, they might be getting bored. They might be saying, okay, I'm either getting bored or maybe they just move on to other things on Twitch, or and because of the rise of Twitch and other games, people are gravitating towards that and then kind of not watching GDQ anymore. Those people are leaving. A lot more of those people are leaving than people who are finding about a GDQ are coming in.
Yeah.
So like, there's a faster decline than incline
Yeah,
or
yeah.
rise
Increase,
in viewership.
Yeah.
So increase. So it's the amount of new people coming in are just not as much.
Yeah.
And it could be that. I think that might be a very plausible thing. Because I can't really think of anything otherwise because it's hard to say. Like, why else would GDQ be losing viewers? It's kind of hard to really think of another reason. I'm sure somebody else could come up with something else, but to me that seems like the most plausible reason. But
Yeah. And just to be clear, I don't think I've seen any numbers that say they're declining in viewers, right? I think it's been this. I think it's been the
yeah,
same for the last.
I
few
think
years.
it's pretty much been like on a straight line, pretty much more or less.
Yeah. But okay, good talk, good impromptu talk there with
Yeah.
Cheeser there, and yeah. So we will get. Stay tuned for our interview with Cheese's hottest competitor in both skill and looks, Punkay Shunt.
Scale and looks, baby.
Okay. All right, guys. Very
I'm
special
pumping.
guest here. This
Time
is
to
the
do
first.
everything again.
This is the first time we are doing this. This is Punkay. Before Cheeser stole his thunder and got the 120-star record, he was the hottest man at speedrunning in all ways. How you feeling tonight, Punkay?
I'm doing pretty good. Just practicing S Red's hardest star out there.
Do you agree with that statement, Cheese? Yes or no?
Yes, it definitely is the hardest star. I would say because it has, it's been changed so much.
There you go.
Probably makes SSL. That's why SSL is known as like the hardest stage too. But yeah, I guess Punkay just got the world record in 70 star. Less than a month ago. Was it it's not even a month now.
Almost a month.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
And yeah, I guess we want to know, first of all, how does it feel, and what are you looking forward to do? What are you looking forward to do from now on?
Well, I've been practicing 120 star. Like some of it offline, decent amount of it has been streamed. I'm just like updating a few things And of course, I eventually like plan to do 120 star runs again, especially since like I feel like I'm a lot better than my current PB. My PB is like a year and a half old or something at this point. I have
Yes.
no idea. It's so old. There's like all this stuff to update, and like I know I'm going to be doing that one thing that Sig did in JRB, where you like switch the controller because it's like it's allowed to do it in runs, and Sig told me it saves like 5 seconds, and it's like pretty easy.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Jerby countless strat that I do. Possibly easier too. So, okay.
Was there any talk
Um,
about that, like making that? Because you guys are the heads of the community, really. Is there
Yeah,
any talk about not allowing that? Because it does seem kind of weird to the viewer that hey, he switches to
Yeah.
an arcade cabinet and can do this crazy thing. It was cool, a moment at pace for sure, but is that something you want to allow everyone to do? That's kind of it's adding another hurdle to get into that game, right? If you want to be top level.
Yes. So pretty much like right after the race that happened at Pace, the whole Mario Discord was just going crazy on the whole box moment in
Yeah,
JRB. And a lot of people, of course, were for, and a lot of people were against, but nothing actually came out of it. No solution actually, like no yes or no came out of it. It's more of like still a discussion, and it since has faded away. No one has really decided yeah or no on it, I don't think. But I don't think people are gearing towards saying that it should be banned. I think people are
I
kind of saying that it's fine.
I was told it's allowed.
Yeah,
So
and I don't I definitely agree with it because Mario 64 is the kind of game where there's no way that using a box controller would be easier than a controller because the Mario 64 requires, everyone knows these insanely precise angles and stuff, and that can only really be achieved properly on a controller. So using a box, for example, might actually be to your detriment. And I think because of that, they kind of allow it as like, well, if you want to use that for a trick, then it's up to you because it's probably better to not use it anyway.
Yeah.
But like, I know what you're gonna say. It does help in that star, right? Because you could mash the button.
yeah, exactly.
Uh, but my personal opinion, I don't see why it should be banned because using it for 1 star, and I think adding to the fact that it's still quite difficult to do, and it also looks really cool. I think it's worth allowing. Honestly, I don't see why it should be a
Here's the thing. I
big
want to
deal.
hear. Okay, I want to hear what you think too. Hold on, let me stop you there
Yeah.
because it's not about that. It does look cool. So for showcase race when Siglemic did it, that was an awesome moment.
Mhm.
What you want to avoid, Mario 64 community, is okay, for this star, you want to have this box. Oh, for this star, you want to have the Nest Zapper. Oh, for this star, you want to have this Hori. For this star, you could break out this one. If you're gonna have it, at one day, you know how speedrunning goes. There's no, it's everyone's trying to get to the as fast as possible. So if you guys figure out some crazy star where if you use this controller, it spins better. Okay, now you're switching that controller. All right, now let me get my box out. And if whoever wants to get to the world record has to have 15 controllers. That's not good either, though, right? You know what I mean?
Well, so I would say off the bat that I guess switching to Hori, for example, for Bowser throws makes a lot of sense. And Hori is an N64 controller.
Yeah.
It's a brand. It's an N64 made controller that you're playing with, right? So there's no reason for that to be an issue. I could see how the box could be more of an issue because it's not N64 related whatsoever, and it's a completely different thing, and it does change the play style. It is a different, technically different. So I could see that being subject to discussion in that sense.
I feel like I should bring this up, but like when I do that thing in JRB, I'm not going to be using a box though. I'm just going to be using like a normal GameCube controller.
With the mapping, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
You just map like up to like the Y button or something. You just mash it
yeah.
so that Mario just goes up.
That's
I
something.
could see
to
that.
think about. Go ahead.
I have heard it's possible for Mario to like do that on like a normal N64 controller, but I just think it's way harder.
So I mean, the only thing I think one rule that could circumvent that everything could say, you one controller for the whole game. Like that would, that would make it. No one has to worry about getting this box or mapping anything or getting a Hori, right? Because you remember, if you guys want more people to be in the Mario 64 community, not that it needs any help, it is one of the biggest without it. But you could say if you could only use one controller for the whole run, it would make it easier to get in, right? You know what I mean? Just something to think about.
I would definitely think that would be more of it. That would definitely hurt the community a lot more if you were to make it, we can only use this controller. Because let's say we say, oh, we can only use N64 original controllers. A lot of people like me hate the N64 controller, and
Yeah.
we can't seem to get used to it. A lot of people start playing the game with GameCube controller on Wii or EMU, and then they won't be able to do that anymore. So that would be
I
a bad idea for sure.
I thought he was just trying to say that you just can't switch your controller
Yeah, that's
throughout
that's
the
what I
entire
mean. So if you
run.
choose GameCube
Oh, you
controller,
can't
that's
sit-
your controller.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So it would stop that problem. But you know, we're getting too
and you
deep into
can't.
Mario 64
Okay.
community talk here.
Interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool though. It's something to
Um,
think about. You don't want to make the hurdle too high because then everyone's like, I can't ever get close to that world record because I don't have
Yeah.
the box, the Hori, the thing, the NES Zapper, the Rob, all
Yeah,
the stuff
yeah.
you need. It's
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
you know. But all
I
right,
guess, yeah. And to add to that, to finish it off, I guess anything that would make it unfair in a sense that if you don't have that controller, you lose time,
yeah,
then it becomes very controversial. And in
Hori
this
doesn't
case,
even really save time though.
no,
You can
no, we're
you can
talking about
spin
the
that
box.
fast.
We're not talking about
Oh,
Hori. We're talking about the box.
yeah.
And but in this case, it is still a little bit confusing or complicated because there's the other JRB Canalys strat that you can do on controller, which I do, which is roughly the same time as the strat with the box. So it's this will be this is complicated. It's complicated. It's a very specific situation.
yeah, yeah.
That's for sure.
It's a good,
It's all
thought.
Siglemic's fault.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Siglemik. Thanks for everything. That's for sure.
Oh, man.
Okay, so let's get to before you broke the 70-star record, which is a groundbreaking moment, one of the biggest world records in speedrunning. You got that. You did good at pace. Event notice pace. You took the showcase race against Siglemik, Cheese, D whatever, and then you took the tournament as well over Cheese. I have the score there on the top of the screen. What was that like? Tell us about your pace experience.
It was pretty good. No real complaints about the event. I liked how it was at like the Xanadu place, and there's like melee tournaments going on and all that. The only thing that I guess I kind of wasn't a big fan of is that like I could see where my opponent was at like all times because on the big screen, but
Yeah.
I don't think there's very much you could really do about that, and I don't think it really impacted my performance.
Yeah.
Oh,
And especially if you're used to not ever watching your opponent's gameplay online, then it definitely would be um, more of an issue to you than let's say me, who I was used to always watching my opponent play. So it was very normal to me. I was pretty much used to it already. But yeah, I think it's something that people would just get used to. That's for sure. Yeah. Okay, so diverging a bit to back to your world record, of course. So you have 70-star world record. I want to know what was your journey getting the world record like? Because I mean, as cliche as it sounds, a lot of times it's about the journey, and like especially when you take a long time to get the world record, you spend 2-3 months trying to get it, and you finally get it. Sometimes it feels a lot better than getting it in 2 days or something. You know, like just tell us a bit about
Yeah.
the journey. What
I
did you
mean,
think of it?
the journey was basically just like pain and suffering and all that good stuff. Like you don't get a PB for a while, and then your mindset just goes down the toilet, and it really sucks. But what happened for me is my mindset was pretty bad, right? But then I got a PB by like 4 seconds. I went from a 47-41 to like a 47-37. And then, like, literally the day after, I got, like, a 47-32. I was exactly a second off world record. And it just, like, getting these, like, PDs and seeing, like, my grind, like, all my work on the game, like, paying off was... I mean, it's just overall, like, a really satisfying feeling to just see yourself, like, put so much time into something and just see results. And I think that just improved my mindset and... just like made it a lot easier to get the world record.
Did you feel that kind of build coming? Because obviously you did great at pace. I mean, that was kind of you did as good as you could do at pace, right? After you lost the first round,
Yeah.
you came back strong. So then, did you feel it coming, or were you still, did you feel yourself you were playing well at pace and afterwards?
During pace, I thought I played well. especially since I got like a 47. It's a little hard to remember like how exactly my gameplay was after I returned. I actually just remembered this. During pace, I had like an issue with front sub.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird, and I just like wasn't going for it in my races. And I remember having like a big issue with that after I got back home. Like I think pace, like I don't regret attending pace at all, but like I think it definitely set me back a little bit for
Oh, in
like
terms of world
actually
record?
getting the world record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
I could see that. Yeah.
It definitely like pushed me back, but not like a crazy amount. And like I knew if I just kept on grinding, I could have gotten the world record, and that's what I did. So I just try to keep my mindset up there, I guess.
Okay. I guess continuing a little bit on this like more personal note, do you have any sort of like set goal system for like the next year or so? Do you kind of like have an idea what you want to do for the next year? Is it kind of just like whatever happens, happens? What's going on in the Punke mind?
Well, I definitely want a 138, and that could take a really long
Yeah,
time.
long
You never
time.
know. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I could. Who knows what will happen? Like speedrunning is like fairly random. I believe I was talking about that in like an interview during
Yeah.
pace. But like you never know what could happen. Like I could practice all this stuff, and then in like my first month of runs, I just start getting like a bunch of PBs and like bust out a 138 quickly or something like that. Or it could take several months. You just never know. But I want to like. I think right now a 138 is like number one on my priority list.
Yeah.
And after that, I don't really know what I would do after that. Maybe I would go back to 70 because like I did get the 70 world record, but it's still very beatable.
Mm-hmm. I guess I want to know, since I have both you guys here, 120-star record holder and 70-star record holder, which is pretty unprecedented in the Mario 64 community. You know, you talk about 148s and stuff, and it's just like you guys have set the bar so high, right? So let's imagine I'm in my bedroom and I say, "Wow, Mario 64 is an awesome game. I just saw Punke win pace, and it was awesome. He got a world record. I want to do that too." So it seems to me like this Mario 64 is one of the games where you have the longest time to get to that level, right? Because it's so optimized. It's so optimized that there's like what, 5 guys have a chance? Do you think? Is it 5 guys that have a chance to make world record right now? 5, 6? What do you think about that?
Definitely not.
Yeah,
For
3,
120
4.
star, only 3.
Okay, 3.
Us 2 and probably Paracrucia.
Yeah. So I mean,
That's pretty much it.
what do you think about that? Is it should someone that wants to get the Mario 64 world record just give up right now? Is it too hard to get in there now? What do you think about that? I'll go to you first, Cheese, then Punke.
I mean, I would definitely say it's never too late. It's no such thing as too late because one of the most important things to think about is that as time passes, the resources that are available get better and better. When I started in 2014, practice codes were still very, very much a new thing. And I didn't use practice codes. For the first 5 months I played the game, I never used practice codes. I just played through stages, practiced very, very slowly, playing the normal game, and I was still able to improve really quickly. Especially the first 3 months that I spent on Wii VC when I started playing on GameCube controller. I got all the way down to a 51 and 70 star on VC, and a 148 and 120 star within 3 months, right, of hard work, without any practice codes. In 2019, somebody starts playing, if they have an EverDrive or even emulator, and the codes that are available, save states and reset codes and the Usamoon ROM and crazy stuff you have available, multiple save states, you can practice so much more readily now. So you can potentially get a lot better a lot quicker. The most important thing, obviously, is you actually deciding to put the work in. You have to put the work in, and you have to, of course, there's a lot of that some people are different. People are different. Some people would learn quicker than somebody else, and that's really important. A lot of people don't realize that, but that's basically what I think. I don't think it's ever too late.
Punkay, what do you think about that? How long would it take somebody to get to the possibility of breaking a world record level if they started now?
It completely depends on the person because, like, Cheese got world record in a year, and not gonna name anyone, but like some people have put in like a pretty high amount of hours, and they're like improving very very slowly. Like it is important to mention that when Cheese did get the world record after playing for a year, like the world record was way less optimized than it is now. Like I think the 120 record as it is now, I think it would take like just about anyone like 2+ years to be capable of beating it for sure.
And it's funny because when I first got the world record, we thought it was pretty optimized. Like when you had the mid 142, and we thought, damn, I always thought too that was so good, and Nero comes out, shows us all these cool strats and continue without save and all these revolutionary things, and we're like, wow. And we realized this game has just started, and then I get the low 141, which was like a big, I guess, starting point of like a new era of times in 120 star that we didn't realize we could achieve so quickly. And then we just kind of like battled back and forth after that, and really optimized 120 star more and more until now, where it's officially it's quite easy. You can quite easily say now it's pretty optimized and extremely difficult to.
I mean, it can still be pushed like a lot more though. You can realistically lower it by like around a minute, I would say, and like an insane run.
Just for a little, so people know what I'm talking about here. Everyone knows, if you watch the show, you know who Siglemic is, right? Siglemic is the guy that kind of put Super Mario 64 as the first head of this scene before you guys even entered. You guys entered right after him, kind of. He was kind of the guy that was there doing it. His run, his best run ever, which was done 5 years ago, is still 25th on the leaderboard. But think about that, guys.
Yeah.
25th place 5 years ago, and that's without all these things that you guys have shown, improvements and stuff like that. He didn't have any of that, and he's still 25th. That shows how hard it is to get to your guys' level. It's just crazy.
And it's important to mention too that before the time he has now, he had a time only 7 seconds off of that, or 8 seconds off of that. A year before that, or was it? Yeah, about a year before that. So in total,
he had a 144.01.
He had a 144.01 since like mid 2013 or something like that. So it's almost 6 years. Yeah, 6 years.
So this is something to think about. I mean, it's this game. When you get these top tier speedrunning games, so I mean, that's why they're hype games, right? It's because they're so optimized. There's no like quick way to get good at these games, right, guys? It's
it's a good way to think about it. Or I think you could compare. You could say this about, I think, any competitive speed game, any speed game that's put a lot of time into and has a lot of a high player base and is very optimized. I think there are levels. There are levels of entry, mentally speaking, in speedrunning. For example, in 120 star Super Mario 64, there's this range of like from starting from scratch to like 150, sub to 150 region of 120 star. That's like the beginner stage.
Yeah.
That's the rapid improvement stage, right? I think Punkay could agree with this. That's like the 150s and sub 2 area. It's very easy, comparatively speaking, to get those times. With even a little bit of hard work for a little bit amount of time, you can get those times quite easily. Sub 150, 148, 147, 149, that range is kind of like the second entry level of work. That's when you have to kind of realize, okay, I need to put in more time now if I really want to get the sub 150. If I want to improve. And then around 146, 145, 144, that's like the third level. You get what I'm trying to say, right? That's when you have to realize, oh, I need to put in a lot more work. I need to actually study my gameplay, see where I'm going slow, that kind of stuff. And then after that, the sub 144 range, which is kind of where Siglemic is, that is when it really starts getting difficult. That is when it really becomes like you have to kind of make this almost like a full-time thing. And it's for that reason I think why Siglemic is still 25th and not higher up on the leaderboard or lower down, sorry.
Yeah.
Because even though a lot of people have that don't have that time in 120 star that have been playing this game for so long, they just don't want to or maybe can't put that third or fourth level of work ethic. And I think that's why Siglemic is still pretty high up on the leaderboard, because there are lots of players that are better than Siglemic that if they put in the work, they could definitely beat him. But it's just because of how much work it takes consistently. That's why I think we don't see as much times up in that range in the leaderboards.
Anything to add to that, Punke, you think?
Yeah, I just think that there's like a lot of people like just prioritize different things in life. Like
Yeah.
it could be just because they genuinely just don't enjoy the game enough to put that much time, or they just like, I gotta focus on school or whatever, and that's obviously more important, so they just do that instead.
Fact of the matter too is a lot of people like doing like single star stuff. A lot of people just like the being able to turn on their game and play through stars and try to beat a star really quickly, instead of putting hours into RTA speedruns, because
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
Mm.
RTA is a dedication, especially like 120 star, whereas like
Yeah.
you can focus on like a section of the run, like basement, put so much practice into it, and then you're doing runs. You finally get out of basement, and you're like upstairs, and you haven't practiced upstairs because there's like too much stuff to practice. And you just have a Mario meltdown in upstairs,
Yeah.
and you just get wrecked. There's so much stuff to those like practice and like keep up to date on. Like you have to devote a lot of time, especially to 120. 70, not so much.
Yeah.
So 70 stars, like the world record is fairly challenging to beat, but like at the end of the day, 120 stars harder. 120 star record is harder to get.
I would say it's quite significant, the difference in work ethic you have to put towards 70 compared to 120 to be good at 70 star. It's significantly less time and effort you have to put into than compared to 70 compared to 120 star.
Yeah, when I was grinding 70 for so long, I updated some things, not like a crazy amount, and like before my runs, I would warm up on a few things, and like I don't know, I feel like that's about all I really did for my practice.
Yeah.
And if I was doing 120 star, like there's no way I'm getting the PB if I just do something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, good talk, guys. Mar64 dissected Puncation. You've been great the last few months. 70-star world record holder, which is definitely deserving of congratulations. Be sure to check out Puncation on his Twitch channel at Puncation, and obviously on Twitter at Puncation. Cheese, any last words for our boy Puncation?
Thank you, Pan and Coke, for being part of the interview, and I'll be seeing you soon at SGDQ.
Yeah,
Don't
I'll
break my
see
word
you
record,
there.
please.
Thanks for having me. I'm not really close to being it. I have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Puncation.
Also,
Go ahead. Last words. Last words are yours.
I was just gonna say, like, don't sleep on Para though. He's on the rise. Right
Yeah,
now.
it's a good point. Yeah, gotta be wary of that.
Shout outs to Para.
All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Pine Cone Shen. It was nice, and I'm always glad to hear from him. And congrats to him again for the 70-star world record. Mightn't last for long, but we'll see. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next segment, this or that. I love this segment because this is when me and ALT ask me and ALT each other questions on anything in speedrunning, and we don't know what we're going to be asked. So I'm excited to get into it. And yeah, I think I'm going to start first.
Please
So
do.
my question for you, ALT. You know about Smash Summit, right?
Yeah.
Smash Summit is an awesome event, very unique. all of these, pretty much an invitational. All these top smashers come into this under one roof in this one big place, and they play tournaments. They do all these cool things, all sorts of awesome content. Imagine there's a speedrun summit
Ooh.
for a second.
Ooh.
I know. Okay, so we have a speedrun summit. My question to you is, what would you prefer to see in a speedrun summit? Would you prefer to see all of the top popular speedruns just doing showcase runs at the summit on stream, or would you prefer to see top of the line competitive speedrun tournaments done at summit?
Okay.
What do you think would work better for a speedrun summit environment?
Okay, real quick sub question. You asked a question,
Yes.
sub question. What is my goal here? Am I in charge of the stream, trying to get as much viewership as I want, or am I just me
are just a
for
viewer.
entertainment?
What do you prefer to watch as a viewer?
If it was just
What
me,
do you think would be more entertaining? Yeah.
we're talking just about me. I would want competitive action. I think that's the only way to do that, right? That's the way to keep the same vibe, because that's the summit is all about going at each other competitively. And yeah, showcases are cool, but how many showcases we need anymore? We've seen a lot of
Maybe a
showcases.
mixture of both. Like kind of like pace.
We could do both, of course. There's always both. That's why I think both works in terms of overall,
Yeah.
not just for me, because then you get the showcase for people that don't know. You get
Yeah.
to see Big John do a cool showcase. And then they
I
get to
guess
see
to add to
Perez.
that, do you think Speedrun Summit can be successful with just tournaments?
Yeah, I think if you get the right people, I think
Yeah.
that's the key point, right? You have to get the right
Of
people,
course.
and it has to be invitational. And I want to hear this crap about being fair, because I'm not being fair. I want to be hype, and hype is not fair. That's what
Yeah,
makes
because
people
that's
good.
I mean that's the point of Summit. Summit is that invitational event where it's like we're getting all the popular people, we're getting all the best players, and that's kind of like what Summit is about. So like I think saying Summit is unfair because they only got the popular people and it's invitational kind of doesn't make sense because that's the whole point of it.
Yeah. And
Yeah, so
I don't care if you don't have to be a huge streamer, right? I'm not saying that. You have to be a big name.
yeah.
But you
You gotta
better
be
be
good at the
high on
game.
high on that leaderboard or a big
Yeah.
name. One of those two, because you can't be neither of those, right? So that'd be pretty hype actually if you got that. And people would bitch about it though. I'm sure of that. You'd have the Reddit post. This is unfair. This is so. What's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? The kind of not open.
Unexclusive.
Yeah,
It's
so
not-
it's so
it's
so
not-
exclusive.
It's exclusive, yeah. It's not inclusive to everyone, I guess.
I want to know why speedrunning's the only thing that can't have these kind of things that are exclusive.
I
to the
mean,
best
I'm
people.
sure stuff like Smash or other communities have talked about it in the past, but because those communities started so much earlier, they've kind of passed that probably. But speedrunning is still very new to this, and I think that's why a lot of speedrunning communities still talk about this kind of stuff. Oh, it's unfair and whatever.
That is like so. I don't understand that at all. That thinking of like everyone has to do everything. That's not how it goes. Speedrunning in itself is competitive, guys. I know.
I mean, it is how it goes for all the other events that already are a thing, like GDQs, ESAs, and NASA, whatever. You can get lots of people that people don't know about, and they do runs at the event, which is so they get the opportunity. And then Summit, of course, that's the invitational. That's what it's known for. So Speedrun Summit, that would be sick. I would love to see that happen. I think I've heard many people talk about it in the past too. But
I mean, what is
cool.
Pooh Bear speedrun sessions are kind of, like that, except they only do showcase. So like we're already kind of there. What Pooh Bear is doing is invitation only thing. You know what I mean, guys? That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's kind of on the way to having something like that. And then don't think we're very far away from Pooh Bear having Pooh Bear's marathon
Pooh Bear Summit.
extravaganza. You know what I mean? Yeah, Pooh Bear Summit, guys. I mean, he's showing it works. So
I still think that Pooh Bear sessions is such a cool idea. I really hope he keeps doing them.
I don't see why.
But
he
yeah,
wouldn't.
I don't see why he wouldn't either. That was my question to you. So now, what do you have for me?
I guess. Well, you didn't
Hit
say
me,
your
please.
answer too, bro. You didn't say your answer, but I'm guessing you want competitive, right? What's your answer?
Oh, my answer. I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I'm all about the competition. I love because we're so used to showcases, right? So of course I want to see competition rise, and again, just see it be done. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I would just love to see it be done and tried. And yeah, that Summit would be a perfect situation for that. So that would be my answer.
There you go, guys. All right, my question is, I'm breaking the rules of this or that because there's not two choices. There's infinite choices, but I don't care because we haven't.
Okay.
This question is too good not to
So
say.
it's called this or that or the other.
Yeah, this question is too good not to go with. So, what 3 world records do you think you that if you had, you would be the most legendary speedrunner there is? What 3 world records do you think are the hypest to have in speedrunning right now in 2019 as we speak?
What are the 3 most desirable world records to have in speedrunning?
Yes. That in terms of everything, right? In terms of viewership, in terms of hypeness, everything.
Can I include the Mario 64 world records or not including
whatever.
Mario 64?
The ones you already have are fine. Whatever.
I'm just asking. All right. Okay. I mean, Mario 64 has to be part of it because I just happen to play Mario 64 and it is like up there with the most popular speed game. So
yes. No one can question that. That's not a question.
having that is great. If I were to choose 2 others, I think one that's right off the bat has to be Ocarina of Time 100%. Because for me personally, Ocarina of Time is my favorite game of all time. I did Ocarina of Time for about 10 months. I was 3rd place at once, almost 2nd place. I was battling for the ZFG Bob, and then VC became a thing, whatever. I took a break. But OT 100% definitely would be one of them because it's one of the most renowned categories of all speedrunning.
Agree.
And a 3rd one, wow, there's so many choices. A part of me wants to say Super Mario Odyssey, but Super Mario Odyssey is a much newer game, and I think another game that has been around a lot longer, has been known in speedrunning for a lot longer, might be a better choice. But because of me and what I'm into and my style of speedrunning, I might have to probably choose. I think I might choose Super Mario Odyssey any percent. That this is for me, my personal choices. Because that's what I could see myself speedrunning. And I think Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario 64, and Ocarina of Time, in those respective categories, imagine having those 3 world records. That is insane.
Yeah, it's impossible.
So I think those are my 3 choices.
I think for me, which I'll never have any of these, but if I could set up the trifecta here, I
know what you're gonna choose.
I think
go ahead.
Mario 64, you gotta have. I would have 120 star. I think that's the premier record in that game is the 120 star. 70 stars.
Can I just guess one?
Go ahead.
Metroid.
Okay, I'm not done yet. I'll work our way there. I think for sure, 120 star Mario 64, hypest game in speedrunning. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you are as big as you are because you have that record. That's just how it goes. Like it can support a speedrunning career.
Mostly, yes.
I mean, you also have a great personality, great looks, everything. You have the whole package. Okay, next, number 2. I think having Super Mario Brothers, the original, would also be very cool.
I was thinking of that one.
Yeah, it'd be a very. That's one that normies also appreciate, and they get a lot of views. Anytime that world record is broken, it gets picked up by Kotaku. It's a good link to the normie. Don't know what speedrunning is, but they know what Mario is. So that would have that kind of angle covered, right? So now I got Mario 64 and I got Super Mario Brothers. My last choice, I was kind of stuck between 2, and you guessed one of them. But I would actually do Link to the Past world record. Shout outs to that community, because that community is one of the biggest. You have all that randomizer stuff, so that means I'd probably be good at randomizer too if I had that world record.
Yeah, if you knew the game,
Yeah. So I think that those 3 would put me in a pretty good place to be the biggest world record holder of all time if I had those 3. Is that like the Zelda one is tough because you're right that Ocarina of Time is arguably bigger game, in terms of which game is hyper. But I think Link to the Past is right there. So that would be
I think this is a cool question because I think this is where categories really come in speedrunning, because speedrunning has so many different, I guess, categories of game communities that kind of like bunch together. And this is a cool question to kind of see like which category you fall into. And my category is kind of like the Mario thing. Yeah. But because I'm also known for running OOT for a bit and I love OOT, I have to put OOT in there. And I love the 3D Marios. So I think that's why Super Mario 64, Super Mario Odyssey, because I love Odyssey, and Ocarina of Time are my three. But then someone like you, you're more into like you like the 2D Mario's a lot. You like ALTTP.
I'm all about
So
the cash.
yeah,
That's all I'm thinking about here. So I'm not worried about my play style. I'm just trying to get as many viewers as I can, baby. I want those sweet
Of
sub
course.
points. But okay.
Yeah, dude.
so that was this or
Yeah,
that.
but but I would see people who are into like the 2D Zeldas more. They would kind of like bunch up at those games. They might say, "Oh, I want the ALTTP, the shoot,
Think hard. Think hard.
yeah, the other Zelda games."
Link to the Past.
They
Ocarina
might
of
say,
Time.
"Oh, I want the Twilight Princess,
Twilight Princess,
I want the
yeah.
Majora's Mask, and I want the ALTTP world record," which would be sick. Because it's funny, like if somebody had Majora's Mask world record, 100%, or Ocarina of Time 100% world record, and ALTTP, whatever the most popular category, either 100% or 80%. Those are three. Those are the three insane categories to have world record with. And I would say it's just as recognizable as having 64 Odyssey and Ocarina of Time world records. But that's the thing about speedrunning. There's so many communities. So it's like, which one would be the best? There's no answer. It's just like, whatever you would think is best for you, I think.
That'd be interesting to research. Has anyone had double world records in games that big? You know what I mean? I don't think it's happened ever, right?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually.
Because that shows how much work it takes. All right, you can't be great at. Very few people are great at baseball and great at hockey, right? The same thing.
Exactly.
It takes it's a whole new level of skills. But it seems like some of those games are very comparable, right? Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time. It seems like it, right?
Yeah, I know there are definitely quite a few speedrunners that had world records in two similar Zelda games. But somebody who's had world records in a Mario game and then a Zelda game,
Yeah,
like
that's
two
what
different categories completely. I don't know if that's ever been done. There is TGH though that has Celeste world record, and I think he had the what do you call the game everyone loves and talks about? The two Undertale.
Undertale, yeah.
He did have the Undertale world record for a bit.
Well, that's the thing.
Or second
Undertale
place.
is not quite the same.
Right.
prestige, You know what
But
I mean?
they are well, they're both 2D games.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's pretty
So
big. If you say
it is
2D is a
similar.
genre.
Because 2D really is different to 3D vastly in speedrunning terms,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I could see that.
in terms of execution and style and whatever. But there are two completely different games. But yeah, I guess Undertale is not really known speedrunning wise as being a really competitive game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting question.
But there you go,
and,
guys. That was this or that.
Maybe it would happen one day. Yeah.
If that happens, I mean, not to go too long on this or that, but there's like I think if like let's say I wanted to start being a speedrunner right now, and I want to be as big as Cheese one day. There are some games that would get you there if you got the world record, right? Not all the way there. You still have to have some personality, but some games would get a lot of people's eyes on you, right? I mean, let's think about it. If someone out of the blue got the Ocarina of Time world record, people would watch his stream for at least a little bit to see this guy, what you're all about. But if you play, okay, what's another game? What's another speedrunning game that's kind of not in that same level? Let's say Zelda 2, right?
Zelda 2,
If you got that world record, you know what I mean? People would see it, but it wouldn't be like this big news. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's kind
That's
of
the reality of speedrunning.
yeah, and nothing's fair. Like I just said, fair is not hype. Fair has no prejudices. But all right, let's go.
It's true.
Let's get to my insane idea here, the last segment of the show, which I tell Cheese an idea I have, and he tells me what he thinks about it. Now, I can't remember where I heard this, but there's a lot of talk on Twitter, I think, or Reddit before our last show, maybe 2 weeks ago or something. Maybe world records are not the best way to see who the best player is, and I would argue that's true, right?
Yeah.
If all the stars align for some player, he could get the world record, but he might not be able to replicate that, right? Which is kind of. I'm not saying that's
There
a
are many
regular
factors.
occurrence. Yeah. So would it not be more apropos to say three playthrough average to see who the best player is? Would that not be another way we can verify who the best players are, right? So instead of you played through this game and you got 15 minutes, you have to play it 3 times. Now, for longer games, obviously, you couldn't do this because it'd just be too long. But for shorter games, what do you think about that in terms of judging the world record is not a single playthrough, but it's 3 playthroughs to better see who the best player is? What do you think about that?
Now, I would kind of argue and say, well, isn't this exactly what a league situation does?
Well, yeah. So I'm saying but now
Or
speedrun.com is just a single playthrough, right? So
yeah,
you know what I mean? It could be a different way to show who best players
yeah,
are.
it's so interesting, and that's what I love about speedrunning so much because yeah, there are the world record leaderboards, but like you don't really hear people saying, "Oh, look, this is the best player because he's number one." They would just say, "Oh, this guy has the world record," but it doesn't mean that they're the best player, right? To start with, it doesn't mean that, and you don't hear people saying those two things that's in the same sentence. They would either say this guy has the world record, or somebody would say, "Oh, look, he's the best player," right?
Mm-hmm.
But usually people would say, "Look, this guy has the world record," but they're not implying that they're the best player in that game
Mm-hmm.
because there are obviously a lot of factors. What does the best player mean for a certain game?
So
Does it mean,
yeah, go ahead.
well, not does it, but it would mean that they're able to replicate uh, or get times that are close to their PB every time. Then there's another factor. They're able to get a good time under a very high pressure situation.
Yeah.
Another factor would be they're able to win every tournament that they play, no matter who they're playing against.
Mm-hmm.
All of these factors come into play. So I think having the league and tournament or whatever and the live competition that PACE had was a great showcase of that. Like Punkay winning the 70-star league, for example, it kind of made people think, and it showed a lot of like, oh, Punkay could very well be the best 70-star player right now. And I personally believe that. And the thing is, you always heard people saying that before, in the past, like forever with Punkay. You always heard people saying Punkay is the most consistent runner, and I knew that coming into the tournament too. And well, needless to say, he won the tournament because I also too believe that he is the most consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so all of these factors come into play, and like I think a tournament or league is a great way to kind of show that off or to determine something like that. But apart from tournaments or leagues, you can do all sorts of stuff to kind of determine, oh, who's the best player in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, like doing like a 3 playthrough kind of thing. An endurance test. I think endurance test is a really cool way for speedrunning because a lot of speedrunning is about endurance. Kind of like giving, okay, here's 5 hours, do as much runs as you can, let's see who gets the best average time. So that's like an endurance test, and you're gonna have something else, like, oh, who has the best PB in general. That could be added as well. All these factors. So.
When I interviewed OmniGamer, this is a long time ago, last year, he said that that's one of the downfalls of speedrunning is the only metric we use to say who the best player is their best time they've ever done ever. And that is not how, some sports are run that way, but not most other sports are not. There's a long process to get to the championship, but speedrunning is you could turn like you did. Obviously, you probably are the best player, but you turned on the game, said I'm gonna try 120-star, and you got it. But what if you played the next one and your time was horrible? That doesn't show consistency. But you did have that one awesome time. So it's just interesting to think about.
I would say that because a lot of people refer to me as the best Mario player has ever played the game, and it's like I personally do not believe that at all. I believe that I'm the best 120-star runner that's ever been. I believe that I am the best 120-star player. But I definitely do not believe that I'm the best 70-star player. I do believe that Punkay is by far the best. I would say Tago and Punkay are like very, very, very close. But Punkay, and he won the league, and it kind of like added to my belief. Punkay has always been the one that always produced the most insane 70-star times consistently, even in past tournaments throughout the years. So that's another factor that comes into play. There are different categories in speedrunning, and somebody would be the best in one category, somebody could be the best in a different category. So there's so much to it. It's crazy.
Who's the 16-star guy? What's his name?
It's Aki. So Aki,
he's a master, right?
Aki is insane, and of course I won the 16-star league, which blew my mind. No one thought I was going to win the 16-star league. So in this case, it was very kind of like a fluke. Aki just happened to play really under par, and I happened to play really well in the grand finals of 16-star. Now, there could be other factors that came into play, like I was used to live settings, and he isn't, obviously. He's a lot younger, too. He could have probably been feeling a lot more stress. He was having some control issues as well, but everyone still truly believes that Aki is the best 16-star player, and I do as well.
Real quick, we should say shout out to Aki because he's 16 years old. He went to a new country. He can't speak English that great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a real brave kid, and that's really cool. That
Trooper.
he did that. That's
Talk
really
about a
cool,
trooper.
Aki. So you were awesome, man. I mean, that's when I was 16. I wasn't flying to Japan to do something crazy, speed run against people that are 10 years older than me. I wouldn't do that.
You're
awesome, man.
That was
It's awesome.
crazy.
Real quick, I thought of it. I can't let it go because I'll forget it before next show. What if we had a category that was like, okay, so here's the category.
The test category.
No. The category of like, you choose, okay, whatever speedrunning decides are the 3 hypest games. You take your combined time of those 3 and make a new category, right? So Mario 64 120 star,
Okay.
Link to the Past, and Super Metroid, whatever it is. And that could be a new category combined to test who is the best at the 3 hypest games of speedrunning. That'd be pretty cool, right?
Are you talking about like speedrunning all the games?
Yeah. So you run them back to back in whatever order you want, and then you have one time, right? That is a new category of, we could think of a cool name for it, but it's like, the best player of the biggest games.
Considering that those players speedrun all 3 games.
No, you don't. I mean, you have to if you want to do this category. I'm sure there wouldn't be that many people that do it.
Yeah, I guess.
That'd be pretty.
I think another good test would be to if you're trying to find the best Super Mario 64 player speedrunner.
Yeah.
Then it'd be kind of like combining all the categories 16, 7 that the players know how to do, 16, 70, 120, and then making that one big category as well, and kind of doing like some kind of format that tests endurance, it tests average time, and that could be another good idea. It's like the ultimate speedrunner test or best
ultimate
player test kind of thing.
Speedrunner hype question test battle.
I think another really cool idea would be to see who's the best or which speedrunner has the fastest learning. How do I say this? Which speedrunner learns the best and fastest? So basically, you give them a game. They don't choose a game. You give them a game. You tell them you have a month to learn this game, and you give, like, if it's 5 speedrunners, you give all of them the same game. All right, you guys have a month to learn this game. Let's see what time you can get in a month. Whoever gets the fastest time after that month, then they clearly have the advantage in in learning a speed game faster than the other player, and that could kind of be another factor in who's a better speedrunner, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be kind of okay. Think about this. We're going way too long here. Think about this. I'm an independent game developer. Let's say I'm making Celeste 2 or something. I'm making Celeste 2.
Yeah.
That'd be cool if we'll give the game to 5 players that know Celeste 1, and whoever has the fastest time on release day, we'll do a long stream on release day of the game for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Whoever gets the fastest time on release day gets 10,000 or something. That'd be crazy. That'd be cool. You have to practice. Well, you don't even have to.
New Twitch Rivals format.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, the first time everyone's seeing the game is when the best players are running the game and they already practiced it. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay. We have so many great ideas. We can't
awesome.
stop. We just don't stop.
We can't stop because I had more, but I can't. All right.
But okay. Let's get to our shout-out segment. What shout-outs do you want to say? I'll let you go first. Go ahead.
Well, shout outs to Aki again, because like I said, and like you said, very young, coming to a new country, and he came with his mom that doesn't speak a word of English, and he was basically up and down by himself all day, and it was really, really, really cool of him to come out and partake in the grand finals of a live competitive speedrunning event. Shout outs to Punkay for the interview on the world record, and I hope he keeps grinding something and doesn't give up. Yeah.
That's your shout-outs. Great shout-outs here. I gotta say shout-outs to Splash and Splash and Splash, Splashy Splashy, Splishy Splashy, for taking the chance,
Splash,
you know,
yeah.
getting speedrunning in there. It's not like
course.
it's something, you know, it's cool that they did that because, hey, they want to take a chance and they took a chance and it was really cool. So that'll keep it going. Shout outs to NASA marathons going on right now as we record this. And that was a really cool marathon. Shout outs to everybody. Yeah, and one thing I want to say about that last thing here. Shout outs to whoever made that Reddit thread that we talked about in the beginning of the show about
Yes.
the smaller marathons. So if you care about that, the person that wrote that, I'm talking to you, the person that wrote that thread. If you care about NASA and you were watching NASA, are you doing everything you could do to spread that? You know, I would. If it's something that you care about that much, your actions show what's important to you in this life, right? So, and if you think NASA's really important, I hope you did everything you could do to share it with other people, share it with your friends, share it on Twitter, all that kind of stuff, because that's how stuff grows, right? Yeah, maybe not so many people are talking about it on Reddit, but you did. That was a good first step. But what else are you doing, right?
Yeah.
So, whatever you like, whatever it happens to be, NASA, speedrun sessions, speed gaming, GSA, GDQ. If you really like it, then let other people hear about it, right? And then that's how things get bigger and grow. And then you won't have to ask that question of why aren't people talking about NASA? Because they will be, because you did the hard part of sharing it, right? So think about that, guys. Shout outs to everybody.
And
Speedrunning's cool. Shout outs to Cheese.
to end that, I gotta say shout outs to Aaron and Josh specifically from Smash and Splash because they're the ones who believed in us, and we wouldn't have been there without them. So I had to add that in.
Shout outs to Aaron and Josh. You guys are truly legends. And yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks now, we will definitely stay on track here. No more long breaks, Cheese Coon. He promised us, Cheese Coon. No more breaks.
Yeah.
Last words, Cheese. Send us home.
Happy Speedrunner Day.
Nailed it.